Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King, and we come to you from the locker room once again here on the campus of Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. Today we're going to talk some Islander basketball with head coaches Willis Wilson of the Islander men's program and head coach Royce Chadwick of Islander women. We also have a special feature focusing on the Islander men's basketball team and their success this past weekend in the mainland portion of the Battle for Atlantis tournament. That's all coming your way momentarily, but right now we're going to start talking some men's hoops with the head coach, Coach Willis Wilson. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Very, very good. First off, congratulations, back-to-back wins against some Division I foes, Furman and Elon, as part of that mainland team championship in the Battle for Atlantis tournament. I'm not sure if satisfying is the correct word, but what term would you use to define the holiday accomplishment?
Certainly progress, and I think coaches are always reluctant to use that word satisfied. You don't ever want to be satisfied, but there was a sense of accomplishment and sense of gratification. We came away a winner, winning a tournament, winning in that sort of format only can help prepare you for what you hope would be a good ending to the season when you're playing back-to-back in your conference tournament, when you're advancing to postseason. It's good preparation. It's something I think you can draw from just knowing that you can be successful against quality opponents later on in the year.
Coach, it seems for other opponents it's difficult to prepare for your team for different reasons. You know, defensively you continue to get stronger, and offensively you can come with so many different types of combinations on any given night to be your production for that evening.
Well, yeah, the truth be told, I mean, that's kind of where we want to be. It's taken us 3 to 5 years to kind of get to a point where we have a lot of weapons and we can come at people in a lot of different ways. We have big guys that can shoot the ball. We have some big guys that can score the ball inside. We have guards that can shoot it outside, guards that are capable of playing in and around the basket, and it just creates tough matchups. And part of our recruiting philosophy always has been to recruit multidimensional players, guys that can really help compromise our opposition's defensive schemes, and I think we've seen that here in the early going of this basketball season.
You know, Rashawn Thomas is a spectacular player. There's no doubt he had a solid weekend, averaging 15 points per game, 7 boards. For him, that kind of goes beyond the numbers, though. His presence on the floor seems to kind of keep teams on their heels a bit, having to consciously know where he's at all time offensively and defensively. You know, we need to be able to keep him on the floor, though. He's doing these great numbers, but he's only doing it in less than 22 minutes a game.
Well, the truth be told, I don't think his minutes would be a whole lot above 27, 28 minutes a night. I think for us to be effective, we've got to be able to play guys at a high level of intensity while they're on the floor. We need to use our depth and make sure that we're getting guys experience and opportunity and confidence for what lies ahead of us. But Rashawn is a guy that if you watch our team on film and you know anything about our history, he's a guy that everything begins with, and so he gets so much attention in so many ways, from the opposition's best defenders, from their defensive schemes, from the coach on the sideline who's yelling probably a lot of inappropriate things about how he plays and his style. The thing that I love about Rashawn is he's a risk taker. He's aggressive. I wouldn't want it to be the other way around where we have a hard time getting him going. He shows up every day as a fighter and a competitor and somebody that's ready to go at every opportunity.
His mid-range game so vastly improved, and also I think defensively with the weight loss, his quickness off the floor, he leads the conference in blocks handily at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and that's something that I want to say probably is a little bit of a surprise, that shot blocking aspect, but the weight loss has really, really improved his athleticism. I think the one thing that goes unsaid about Rashawn is the weight loss has really helped his recovery from game to game and from live competition to live competition. But that athleticism is really showing up, and that's frankly something that I think we really missed a little bit a year ago.
Sure.
When you throw in the mix guys like Jelani Curry and Joe Kilgore and Bryce Duvier that can get you blocks here and there, even Ehab Amin, who's a guy that just gets his hands on a lot of balls in different ways but capable of blocking shots. It really adds a whole nother dimension to our defense.
You know, after this weekend, Joe Kilgore and Jelani Curry, two guys you just mentioned, they seem to kind of shed their shy nature and are looking to really establish themselves as significant threats on the floor. What do their styles do to contribute to Islanders' success?
Well, first and foremost, when you talk about those guys, what we really need at this point is consistency. We've seen their ability and seen what they bring to our basketball team. The most important thing going forward is that they become more and more consistent. I think that's going to happen just with more and more opportunities and playing games. The dimension that they bring to us is that when people are really getting after Rashawn and Bryce and Hamid and Brandon Pye, they're trying to take away things, such was the case against Elon, we were really able to isolate those guys and put them in situations where they could be successful, where they could take a lot of pressure off of guys because they were being guarded one-on-one. The advantage that I thought we had the other night was that we were able to put both those guys on the floor at the same time, and so we were really able to play them off of each other and find some success for limited periods during that basketball game.
You know, everybody's talked about it over and over again. You lost your point guard from last season, and you needed someone to step up this season. Hamid Ali, you mentioned him a moment ago. He's coming off of a season-ending injury from last year and has appeared to rise to the challenge. What makes him a solid floor general?
Well, first and foremost, you have to talk about his basketball IQ. He has as high a basketball IQ of any player that I've ever coached, and I've been doing this for the better part of 30 years. He knows the game. He understands the game. He can see things and react in real time and make great decisions. I think the second thing is his body has improved. He's put on some muscle mass and he's grown, and you know, knocking on the door 6'3", 180 pounds, his stamina and his drive and his competitiveness, all those things have kind of come together at once that has kind of created this guy that just has such a cerebral feel and can affect the game in both sides of the ball in so many different ways. And so I think he's on the verge of really having a stellar year. The one thing we've yet to see out of him is just consistency in terms of shooting the basketball, but we know how capable he is, and I just think that's one of those things that getting games under his belt really going to make the difference for us.
Well, it's turning into a very interesting ride for Islander men's basketball so far this season, and looking for really big things to come. Coach, good luck this week and the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Willis Wilson joining us once again here in the locker room. When we come back, we have a special feature focusing on Islander men's basketball and their wins this past weekend in North Carolina. More to come in a moment. You're watching Islander Insider. Stay with us.
Hey you, couch potato. What are you doing at home? This is where the action is. These seats are great. I can even yell at the coach from here. Hey, coach!
Hey, coach. These are great seats.
I know, and it's a great game, too.
I wish I could sit here.
Hey, who's coaching the team?
Islanders basketball season tickets are on sale now. Call 825-BALL or visit GoIslanders.com to order yours today.
Lung cancer is the leading cancer killer in both men and women. Because most cases are diagnosed in the most advanced stage, early detection is the key to survival. Are you between the age of 55 and 74? Have a smoking history of at least 30 pack years? Radiology and Imaging of South Texas and Christus Spohn Cancer Center have joined together to offer affordable lung cancer screenings. Call 1-855-557-7646 to schedule, because what you can't see can kill you.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. This past weekend, your Islander men's basketball team traveled to Elon, North Carolina to participate in the Battle for Atlantis Mainland Team Tournament. They were quite successful. Let's look at some of the video packages from the weekend. First, the Furman Paladins. After defeating the Paladins, the Onagers advanced to the final to take on the host team, Elon Phoenix. Let's look at the highlights.
My family has been growing crops here since the late 1800s.
We're Texas farmers through and through, and that's why we love HEB. They've been supporting local farms like ours for generations.
They buy more of our corn than anyone else in Texas.
Over 10 million pounds annually, and they use it to make great products like HEB corn chips.
So when you try them, you're eating a little piece of Texas.
We're the Sawdoff family, and this is the locally grown department at HEB. No store does more than my HEB.
At Navy Army, we're proud of our military roots, but you don't have to be in the military to be proud of where you bank. If you live in South Texas, chances are you can join. Each year, we welcome thousands of new members looking for a better way of banking. So carry that card with confidence, because we take your financial success seriously at Navy Army Community Credit Union. Does your bank do that?
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we're going to talk some Onager women's hoops with the head coach of the program, Coach Royce Chadwick. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, Stephen.
I have not really had an opportunity to speak with you since your win over the Rice Owls. That one was special because I think it really reestablished a confidence in the ladies that might have been shaken a bit because the season kind of got off to a rough start. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that we have some young players that are being thrust into roles that we were not anticipating. You know, we had Janeska Lawler that we thought would be a good senior center for us, and she's out. Then we had Jayton Walls, who we thought would be a good a reserve for her. Now she's out. We had Ashante Plummer, who we thought, well, you know, she's going to be able to block shots and do some things in the paint. Now she's out. So we've got freshmen that are starting for us because we've had injuries in one position, and I thought that for them to step out and play the way they played against Rice was a huge shot in the arm. Shea Weaver is a difference maker, and she was, I think, down the stretch, the best player on the court, and she proved that. And the crowd actually won that game for us because with about 3 minutes to go, the decibel level went up tremendously, and it energized our team, and it made a huge difference for us down the stretch.
I understand exactly what you're talking about when the crowd really gets into it, no doubt. You mentioned the freshmen. They are having to step up, but maybe a little bit sooner than you had anticipated them. Yuri Jolivet, Madison Turner, Mickey Flores, 3 freshmen that have seen significant time. Really, has it been out of necessity that you've got them in the minutes they've been putting through, or plain and simple, have they just really started earning their time in practice?
Well, I think it's both. There was a situation where we have no centers. I mean, every girl that we have recruited to play the 5 is out, and 2 of them are out for the season. So we really brought Madison in to be more of a power forward. So we took her from the power forward spot, moved her to the center, and she relished the role and took off. So she did her part out of necessity for our basketball team, and that's the kind of players that you hope you recruit. You recruit people that don't have a personal agenda, they have a team agenda. So Madison was like, put me where you need me to help the team, and that's what she's done. Yuri is really a small forward, and we had to move her to the power forward, and she's embraced that role and said, you know, okay, come on, whatever I can do to help the team, and they've done exceptionally well.
And then, of course, you have Mickey, who just is kind of a little pit bull out there. She's just a tough, hard-nosed point guard player that is welcome.
Well, we knew that Mickey was going to get some minutes when we recruited her because we have Jennifer. I mean, we have 1 point guard in the house, and when we brought Mickey in, we said, look, you know, you got a senior that will be our mainstay, but you're going to need to come in and do some things for us. And she knew from the jump that she was going to have the opportunity to contribute. That's a little bit different, I think, because she's relished her role and really embraced it and done a very good job as a freshman leading her basketball team. And, you know, she's not a practice player. And she's a good player in games, but she doesn't show that in practice. And so she has to learn to be a great practice player, then she can be an exceptional basketball player on game day.
Brittany Bomilou, who's your redshirt sophomore, sat out last year with the knee injury. She's pretty much picked up where she left off, though, after her freshman campaign. She has no fear, you know, launching threes. My question to you is this, you know, does she have the green light every time? Because there may be some that you kind of scratch your head on, but like I said, do you sign off on all of her decisions?
Well, you know, I've scratched my head so much I have spots up here now because, yes, she has the green light, but we are trying to put some patience in her game to where that was a pretty good look, but let's get a great look. And she's adapting. She's just a sophomore. She's set out a year. She's still rusty. But yes, she has the green light to shoot what she feels is a great shot. And, you know, we don't have our roles identified with our team yet. Shea Weaver has the green light as well. Kamisha Davis has the green light, but it's a different area that she's looking for her shot. Cassie Jones, shot clock winding down, she's the girl you want shooting the basketball because that girl can hit tough shots. So everybody has a role. We're trying to mesh them together, and hopefully we'll get better as we go through the season.
Of all your returnees, it does seem that Kamisha Davis, though, has had the most trouble finding her stride offensively. I mean, almost every night she's tapped into her athleticism. She grabs a ton of boards for you. There's no doubt. She's very active. But do you have to give her the latitude to ultimately just continue to find her shot, or do you may have to steer the offense in a different direction?
We broke down over the weekend everything that she's done offensively, and we looked at her perimeter jumpers, where they came from, what she was doing, and we are trying to take great shots, not good ones. And we're trying to get her in the gym because she knows where her range is and she knows what she can shoot, and we've been working on that these last 3 or 4 days. Shoot this shot. And I think she'll turn it on before the year's over. It just may take her a little time to get her groove. Secondly, the girl's not been to the free throw line. You have, you know, double-digit offensive rebounds, and you can't get to the free throw line. We're going to try to fix that in the next game because if she gets 4 or 5 offensive rebounds, there ought to be a way to get to the free throw line one time, and you do that through fakes, ball fakes, drawing some contact, and hopefully we can help her get to the free throw line.
You know, you have a significant break between games and won't be taking the floor until Friday the 11th against Angelo State. It'll be significant. I know you're a huge proponent of practice opportunities. How do you keep practice fresh, without making it monotonous, especially when you have a long break such as that between games?
Well, people believe that the hardest practices are during finals, but to me the best practices are during finals because they've been cooped up in a room studying, cramming, trying to get ready for this test. They go in and take it and they feel like the weight of the world is off their shoulders. It'll be crisp. We'll come in, bring them in an hour and 15 minutes, and we'll go as hard as we can up and down, a lot of running, a lot of perspiration during this time, and you're trying to refine your talent and get everybody to understand their role and play within themselves. But it's a great time to practice because of the finals are going on and they want to release.
Right around the corner, you have teams like UNLV and the University of Houston coming to town. Why is it important to bring teams of that caliber to Corpus Christi?
Well, I think everything that happens in the preseason builds you for the conference race. I mean, you can go into our league 0-9 and have a tough enough team to go win the league. You can also go in 9-0 and not have a tough enough team to win the league. So your record, to me, going into conference is not as important as how far your team has come, how much adversity you've overcome. The confidence level is a balance that you're trying to obtain. You can go play all people that you know you're going to beat and you go in with a false sense of confidence, and you got to go to Central Arkansas and you're going to get beat up because they just play very, very physical. So I don't think we'll see anything in our conference race that will be any more physical than East Carolina. I don't think we'll see any more talent in our conference than we'll see in that week between UNLV and Houston. That's two of the most talented teams we have on our schedule. It'll be a great opportunity for us to see if we can band together and play 5-on-5 concepts and not lose 1-on-1 battles and win some 5-on-1 battles.
Looking back on the season at this point, do you feel that at any point that your team has improved over last season in any facet of the game? Is there anything that you can pinpoint?
I think the number one thing that we've done, we got our people on the court. We've got Shea back, we got Shola out there. If they can stay healthy, we've got senior guards, and that's what you want. You want people that have been in your program for multiple years that can lead your team. We'll be without Ashante, we'll be without Jayton for the year, and hopefully they'll learn some things by sitting out that they can contribute to us in the future. But I think we're a better basketball team than we were 1 year ago at this time. I think last year we were 2-8 going into a break or something like that. So, we're in a much better situation. We just got to keep getting better and refine what we have.
Coach, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Royce Chadwick joining us once again here in the locker room. When we come back, we'll bring you up to speed on what's next for Islander Athletics. Stay with us. More Islander Insider in a moment. Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, let's bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders athletics. Islander women's volleyball will be competing in the first round of the NCAA championships in College Station on Friday the 4th as they take on number 10 Texas A&M at 6:30. Islander men's basketball will be taking the court on Saturday the 5th as they host Texas State at the American Bank Center. Start time 7 p.m. Islander men's basketball will return to the court on Saturday the 12th as they travel to UTSA for a 2 o'clock start time in San Antonio. And Islander women's basketball will compete on Friday the 11th as they take on Angelo State in the Dugan Wellness Center on the campus of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. That start time, 7 p.m. I want to thank once again Willis Wilson of Islander men's basketball and Royce Chadwick of Islander women's basketball for joining us in the locker room once again. And most importantly, we want to thank you for tuning in. I'm Stephen King. For everyone here at the Islander broadcast crew, you've been watching Islander Insider. Have a great day.
All right, everybody, if this doesn't get your toes tapping, then check your pulse.
The joy of cola, joy of bubbles, joy of fun, joy of Pepsi on your tongue, greatest taste sensation under the Pepsi Cola.
I'm Christy Felice, and I am the Director of Brand Engagement for the Houston Astros. Texas A&M University at Corpus Christi has absolutely helped get me to where I am today, and it is a small campus with large opportunities. You should definitely choose Texas A&M University Corpus Christi.
97% of A&M Corpus Christi graduates will be working or in graduate school upon graduation. Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Discover your island. Visit us today at tour.tamucc.edu.